From 1994 to 2004, I was on a journey. I was studying the Bible, passages were coming to mind, like in James when he says, if anyone's sick, have the elders anoint him with oil, so I started doing that. So in over a 10-year period, I saw 4 people heal. And then in 2004, while I'm talking to 200 businessmen at a conference, I had a cerebral hemorrhage and I was paralyzed on my left side immediately. I mean, it was like a light switch went off. One minute I could shift my weight, and the next minute I was completely paralyzed on my left side. Very sobering moment, and confusing. So while I'm in the hospital, God told me very definitively through the Word, through His Word, that He was gonna heal me in 21 days. He directed me to a passage in the Bible. It says God's gonna, Hosea 6, it said God's gonna revive in 2 days, restore in 3, and I immediately knew that God was gonna heal me in 21 days. Also, there was a woman in my church a year earlier that had gone to a Benny crusade in Madison Square Garden. She had 4th stage breast cancer, 42-year-old bond trader on Wall Street, and she was completely healed. All the cancer left. So when I saw Benny Hinn in Baltimore, I said to my wife, take me to that venue. I didn't know if that was gonna be the venue, but I just had an inkling that God was gonna work there in that venue 21 days after my stroke, on May 28th. And then all of a sudden during the worship, my whole body started shaking like a jackhammer. It was just like up and down. And my wife Rivers said, what's going on? I said, I think God's healing me. As I'm standing there waiting to get out of there, all of a sudden Benny now is going back and forth with, he says, come up here quick, you two come up. And as I walk across that carpet in that auditorium is when I realized I was healed, and I walk up these steps. Now at home to get up steps was like a 10-minute evolution. One leg at a time, lift the other one up. So I run up these steps, and he says, who are you? I said, I'm a Lutheran minister. And he said, do Lutherans believe in healing? I said, well, I do. I came here tonight paralyzed. I'm completely healed. And then he said, well, the reason I called you up here is because God is going to give you and your wife a healing man. Do you have a church? And I said, yeah, in Connecticut. And he said, well, people will be healed in your church this Sunday and thousands will be healed. So the long story made short, I was completely healed. Went back to my church. That Sunday, a baby was healed of leukemia. A woman was healed of another issue, a serious issue. And when I saw that happen, I realized that whatever this was, it was going to come true. So for the last almost 15 years, we've been all over the world doing this healing ministry. Well, my mother, a good Lutheran lady, said, I can't stand Benny Hinn. I'd say, Mom, why don't you like him? I don't like his hair. I don't like his clothes. I don't like his theatrics. I said, what do you want to do, get my healing back? So that's where I got healed. And is he a human being like me? Sure. Is he flawed? We're all flawed. You know, does he make mistakes? We all make mistakes, but he's still a vessel God chose to use in that time, and I think still continues to use to heal people. Well, I've been praying for people for healing for 25 years, all right? And most people that come for healing are scared. They're afraid, they're uncertain, they're in pain. They've been given a horrible diagnosis and prognosis. And so in the midst of that fear, they don't know what they believe. They don't know what God's gonna do. And it's more about my faith, as it says in James, a prayer offered in faith will make a sick person well. It's more about my faith praying for you than your faith receiving. I've seen people with no faith get healed and still didn't come to faith. You know, there's no formula in this. I mean, Jesus prayed for people because they asked him, because he was compassionate, because their friends asked him. I mean, there's no formula here to healing. People ask me all the time, why didn't God heal everybody? I said, I don't know. I don't know. I preach the gospel every Sunday. Not everybody's saved. Sometimes nobody's saved. I don't quit preaching. I pray for the sick all the time. Some are healed, some aren't. I don't quit praying for people because they're not all healed. That'd be ludicrous. What I've learned about God, though, in the midst of all this, whether it's preaching or teaching or healing, is that he's good and that I can trust him and he knows what he's doing. So if you're healed and somebody else isn't, that's God's choice. I'm just praying. All my job is to pray. God's wisdom is always right. His judgment's always right. His goodness is always right. And we have to trust him.